The scent of sandalwood and burning timber drifts over the dark river just before dawn. Here, the end of a physical life is not a quiet secret, but a public celebration of letting go. We are floating in the dark. The wooden hull of our small rowboat scrapes gently against the slow current of the river. The water is freezing at this hour, and a thick white mist clings to the surface, hiding the opposite shore completely. There are no engines out here. The only sound is the rhythmic splash of the wooden oars slicing through the dark water and the soft dripping when they are lifted into the cold air. Slowly, the sky begins to bruise. It shifts from heavy ink to a deep violent purple and finally to a pale dusty orange. And as the darkness lifts, the city reveals itself. Along the massive stone banks, fires are already burning. They never stop burning. Along the ancient stone stairs that drop sharply into the river, thousands of figures are moving in the morning shadow. People wrapped tightly in wool blankets step down into the freezing water. They scoop the river into their cupped hands. They close their eyes. A temple bell rings out, a sharp, clear sound that pierces the morning mist. Then another rings out, and another. Soon, the entire riverbank is alive with the murmur of thousands of voices chanting in the early morning darkness. This is not a place you visit to escape reality. It is a place you come to face it completely. Here, in the ancient city of Shiva, welcome to Varanasi, welcome to Culture Journey. Today we are walking into a place that defies ordinary logic. When you step off the train and the heavy, complex air of this city hits your lungs, you realize instantly that this is not a museum of the past, preserved for tourists to look at. It is intensely, overwhelmingly alive. Varanasi is considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. People have been waking up, walking down to this exact river and praying to the rising sun for thousands of years. But people do not just come here to live. They come here to die. And yet there is no heavy sadness in the air. Over the next little while, we are going to walk together through narrow stone alleys where silk weavers create poetry with thread. We will drink sweet milk tea by the roadside and watch the morning unfold. And we will sit quietly by the river where life and death hold hands every single day in the most ordinary, beautiful way. Let us walk together. We leave the boat and step off the massive stone stairs known as ghats to move into the labyrinth. The old city of Varanasi is a tangled web of alleys so narrow that the sunlight only reaches the ground for a few fleeting minutes at midday. These alleys are called galleys. Walking through them requires a complete surrender of your personal space. You find yourself pressing your back against a cool, damp stone wall to let a wandering cow pass by. A motorbike squeezes past, leaving a trail of exhaust that mixes instantly with the heavy perfume of crushed marigold flowers, wet earth, and frying dough. The sensory input is absolute. You do not just observe Varanasi, you are consumed by it. From a small alcove carved into a crumbling wall, we hear the furious bubbling of oil. A man sitting cross-legged is dropping pieces of dough into a massive blackened iron wok. He is frying kachori, a crisp early morning pastry stuffed with spiced lentils. Next to him, another vendor steadily boils milk, folding heavy cardamom and ginger into thick, sweet tea. We stand in the alley dodging pedestrians and stray dogs and accept a small, unbaked clay cup filled with the steaming sweet tea. The clay tastes faintly of the earth. The hot, sweet liquid warms our freezing hands. When we finish drinking, we watch a local man toss his empty cup onto the cobblestones. It shatters instantly. We do the same. The street sweepers will eventually crush the broken clay back into dust. In this city, everything circles back to the earth. Everything is temporary. Deeper into the twisting alleys, the sounds of the temples begin to fade. We cross into the Muslim quarter of the city and the atmosphere shifts. The chanting is replaced by a mechanical wooden rhythm. Clack, clack, thud. Clack, clack, thud. Ducking beneath a low wooden doorway, we enter a room heavy with humidity and dust. In the dim light, an old man sits barefoot at a massive wooden handloom. His hands move faster than our eyes can track, pulling delicate threads of pure gold and deep crimson. This is the legendary art of Banarasi silk. It takes him 3 full weeks of sitting in this dusty room from dawn until dusk to weave a single magnificent sari. He weaves not just a garment, but a physical blessing for a distant bride, pouring centuries of ancestral skill into every yard of silk. He tells us quietly that his grandfather sat in this exact spot. His father sat here. Now he sits here. The rhythm of the wooden loom is quite literally the heartbeat of his family. We stand in the corner watching the dust motes dancing in the single shaft of sunlight that penetrates the room. We are watching the creation of something breathtakingly beautiful meant to celebrate the beginning of a new life. But in Varanasi, the beginning is always intimately tied to the end. We step back out into the maze and follow the winding alleys back toward the water. Slowly, the sweet smell of incense and fried food is replaced by something entirely different. It is the sharp, raw scent of burning wood and melting resin. We step out of the shadows and onto Manikarnika Ghat. There are no cameras allowed to film the faces here. We put ours away out of pure respect. We just stand and watch. Massive piles of heavy timber mango wood and rare sandalwood are stacked 2 stories high along the steps. Down by the water, fires are raging fiercely. 5, 10, perhaps 15 massive pyres are all burning at once, sending thick plumes of gray smoke into the sky. Families arrive, carrying bamboo stretchers down the stone steps. The stretchers are carrying bodies wrapped entirely in bright orange and gold cloth, covered in fresh marigold garlands. They carry their loved ones to the edge of the river and dip the stretcher into the freezing Ganges one final time. It is a ritual meant to cleanse the soul, washing away the accumulated karma of a lifetime before the final farewell. Then they place the body onto the heavy wood. The eldest son of the family, wearing clean white robes, steps forward. He receives the sacred fire from the local workers, and he lights the pyre. What strikes you immediately, standing there, sweating in the intense heat of the flames, is the complete absence of weeping. You scan the faces of the families, and you see solemn respect, but you do not hear crying. There are no desperate tears. In the Hindu faith, dying in this specific place and having your ashes offered to this specific river means breaking the endless, exhausting cycle of reincarnation. It is ultimate liberation. It is the achievement of moksha. In the Hindu faith, passing away here is to achieve moksha, ultimate liberation from the endless cycle of rebirth. Tears are heavily restrained, not because the grief isn't profound, but because weeping might tether the soul back to the earthly realm. We sit down on a stone step just a few yards from a roaring pyre. The heat pushes heavily against our faces. Soft gray ash falls onto our shoulders and our hair like warm snow. It is an incredibly intimate, private moment of grief and transition, but it happens entirely out in the open. And right next to the fires, ordinary life continues without missing a single beat. Just a few steps away, stray dogs sleep curled in the radiant warmth of the burning wood. Above them, young boys fly paper kites from a nearby rooftop, their laughter carrying on the wind, while a vendor quietly passes through the smoke with a basket of fresh vegetables. Death is not hidden away behind sterile hospital doors or quiet cemetery gates. It is woven directly into the fabric of a Tuesday afternoon. It sits right next to the children playing and the men drinking tea. Sitting there covered in the dust of the city and the ash of the fires makes you look down at your own hands. You feel your own chest rising and falling. You realize with sudden terrifying clarity how temporary we all are. But strangely, in the heart of this burning place, that realization does not bring fear. It brings a profound, settling sense of peace. You realize you are just a small passing part of a very old, very beautiful rhythm. As the afternoon fades, the intense heat of the day finally breaks. The sun begins to heavy itself and drop behind the ancient, crumbling palaces, casting long, golden shadows over the river. We walk away from the smoke of Manikarnika and rent a small wooden rowboat, pulling away from the shore just as the sky turns the color of bruised plums. Thousands of people are gathering down at Dashashwamedh Ghat. The stone steps are packed with pilgrims, locals, and travelers from across the world. We tie our boat to a dozen others bobbing gently in the current, creating a floating platform of strangers sitting together in the fading light. Young priests wearing brilliant golden robes stand on elevated wooden platforms facing the dark river. As the sky turns pitch black, the evening ceremony of Aarti begins. It is a daily ritual of profound gratitude, an offering of light and devotion to the river goddess who sustains millions. The priests raise massive brass lamps, heavy with fire, high into the air. The multiple tiers of flames reflect wildly in the dark, moving water. The sharp, piercing sound of conch shells blowing tears through the night air followed immediately by the deep rhythmic pounding of heavy leather drums. The energy is electric. You can physically feel the sound vibrating in your chest. The thick, sweet smoke of burning camphor rolls over the crowd and drifts out across the water, settling around our boat. Down by the edge of the water, women are lighting small, delicate candles nestled inside small bowls made of dried leaves and flower petals. They whisper quiet prayers and gently push the leaf bowls out onto the dark surface of the river. We sit silently in our boat and watch hundreds of these tiny, fragile flames drifting away into the absolute darkness, carrying the silent prayers, hopes, and memories of the people who lit them. The river takes them all without judgment. In the span of a single day, we have seen a physical body turn to pure ash, and we have seen a river worshipped like a living, breathing mother. We have seen men weaving silk for new brides, and men burning wood for their departed fathers. The fires of the Aarti eventually burn out. The heavy drums stop beating. The massive crowds slowly disperse, disappearing back into the dark labyrinth of the alleys to sleep. We are left sitting in the wooden boat, floating in the quiet dark. Only the distant glow of the cremation fires remains burning steadily up the river. Varanasi is not an easy place to process. It does not offer you a simple, relaxing holiday. It asks you to confront the very things we usually spend our entire lives turning our faces away from. It takes everything human: creation, destruction, deep faith, profound sorrow, and incredible joy, and it forces them all into one crowded, noisy, beautifully chaotic space. It completely strips away the modern illusion that we are somehow separate from the natural cycle of the earth. It reminds us that we are made of the same dust that sweeps through the alleys and the same water that flows out to the sea. Perhaps that is exactly why people have walked these stones barefoot for thousands of years. You do not come here to find answers to every question. You come here to learn how to exist gracefully within the mystery. You leave this ancient place carrying a very strange and beautiful lightness. It is a quiet reminder that to truly live a meaningful life, you must accept that everything eventually returns to the river. And that is okay. The fire will burn, the water will flow, and the morning will always come. Thank you for walking these ancient steps with me today. If you found a piece of yourself in this journey, or if you felt the warmth of the fires from wherever you are watching, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. There are so many more corners of this world for us to experience together. Many more streets to walk and stories to hear. Until we meet again, walk slowly, listen closely, and remember that every ending is simply part of a much older rhythm.